would she like, or what?
Why would she make a documentary about herself?
Why would she make a documentary about herself?
Yeah.
Because she's obsessed with herself.
You don't think that? Give me a proper answer.
I don't know why you wanted to make a documentary about yourself. You find yourself so interesting that you want to document that.
But do you think I do find myself so interesting?
Maybe, or maybe you find us too interesting that you want to see us squirm in front of a camera. Maybe that's it. Just a fucking social experiment.
She was always a bright little sparky piece.
When Zoe was little, she was really kind of funny. Like before she could talk, I think her way of communicating was laughter, which was really good because I think Jake thought that everything he did, she found hilarious.
Pain in the hole. Pretty much for the same reason she's a pain in the hole now. Little sisters and all that.
She was always very creative. When she'd finished wrecking one place, she'd go to the next place carrying this proportionately huge yellow plastic briefcase full of every horror you can imagine, like glue and glitter and all this kind of stuff. And the briefcase would also leak everywhere she went, so there was kind of a bit of a trail. Fairly early on, she became less interested in and started to need something more than going out and buying stuff. It needed that kind of intellectual play and wasn't getting it, but art college was going to be better. It was always looking to the horizon, to the next thing. I've always had this kind of attitude of X, Y, and Z, and it'll be great. Zoe maybe got disillusioned with that line of thinking and got very angry with me about what she described as my unqualified optimism. I think maybe there's a little bit of that in her too. She started to emerge as her own person. I just had to realise that it was never going to be steady with Zoe. It's always going to be boom and bust. It's always that there's an obstacle or a goal, and she gets very passionate about it and turns herself inside out, and it makes me feel really anxious and helpless. And then it's resolved, and it's a huge sense of relief and joy, and then it all just starts again.
She got her love of art from her mother. She was always very arty. I suppose that's why she went to art college.
I think for Zoe, what she looks for is to be in a creative environment, but it's really about finding the herd, finding the people who play with her, who will engage. Her goal was to get into college, and painting seemed to pick her rather than her pick paint. And she ran with it and got in, got her place. And I was expecting a period of calm, but it wasn't like that at all. She had a complete crisis about whether she deserved her place, and at the same time, it wasn't what she expected in terms of engagement with the group. She thought she was going to meet like-minded people, And it didn't turn out to be that way. She had nobody to play with.
Giving out about her work, other people's work, lecturers, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I was quite impressed with her paintings. Although sometimes I wish she could have been more like the French guy Monet, and drawn flowers or people on a ferry boat on the Seine or something like that, but she seemed to prefer these flashes of abstract paintings, which some of them are very nice. I wouldn't be a great art critic though. I don't know much about art. I'd recognise a Picasso, all right, but then who wouldn't?
She worked very hard and she got a really good result, but because she felt that they weren't engaging with her, she felt that the really good result meant nothing. And that was sad for her. And when you go out into the big bad world with a really good result from art college, it seemed to mean nothing. Why Japan? There was no alternatives, it seemed, at the time. And maybe she thought that it'd be better or different, or that she'd find people to play with. Then it was just an absolute culture shock. And I think the words that sort of boomerang back from that time was, oh ma'am, what have I done? Maybe we, let's share the blame here, maybe we didn't think this through. She'd signed her own fate to not renew her contract before things clicked for her. Then things clicked for her, and she had to come home because she couldn't find a way of being there. Finally, she'd found people that she enjoyed hanging out with, but she just couldn't find a way of staying there.
Terrible. Yeah, she was very sad leaving Japan in the end. I think she was so sad. She was upgraded to first class on the way home, but she was so sad she couldn't really enjoy the champagne and the smoked salmon or whatever they serve on first class.
Heartbroken, distraught, panicked. It just smelled horrible to her, looked horrible. The place just felt miserable to her because it just seemed like there was nothing for her here, and that she'd made a big mistake in coming home.
fuck all Japanese in it.
Just a little more grown up, a bit more confident of the world.
Well, one of the things I think that happens when you go through a program like a degree is that you kind of become institutionalized in a kind of a way. And I think there's a period after it where you have to sort of recalibrate and assimilate maybe the college experience, but get back to yourself. And that's a kind of a speed wobble type of time. And I think it's maybe the same for everybody to a lesser or greater extent. While she was having her crisis, her little midlife crisis in Japan, she became herself again.
What do you hope for her in her future?
She finds something she likes doing that doesn't involve recording me.
Do you have any suggestions?
Recording ma'am.
I think that she's getting re-energized to get on and do the next thing. I think she's clearer now about what the next thing is and how to get there. She can see more possibilities of where to go next on the horizon.